Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Globe Law and Business. They're a very useful professional publication company, and they produce a lot of very useful books involving both law and business, which is of great help to us as professionals. Now, this one comes to us as part of their Good Practice Guides series, and it's called To Innovate or Not to Innovate, a blueprint for the law firm of the future, very much looking towards the future, the 2020s, and what we might be doing at that time. It's been written by an experienced practitioner, Darryl Cooke. He's come up with some excellent suggestions in this book. Elizabeth was the lead writer on the book, and we've got a title for our review: Change or Die, a positively evangelical message for law firms aiming for future growth, because it is about growing your firm, and that is really where we are at the moment with much of the work we do. Let's have a look at the book. It's a small paperback. There it is. Good practice guides. There we go. Little, very small spine. Then on the back, you get a little bit of blurb. It's very much the structure of Globe, so slightly different from what you're normally expecting. There's information about the company who published this book at the back. Then there's an index based on page numbers, very small index. There's not very much there. Then you've got, after that, a reasonably short bibliography. There's a lot of referencing that in fact Cooke has produced. Then after the bibliography, there's some detail right at the back again about Darryl himself. And he's obviously he was a barrister at Lincoln's Inn and then became the lead team of a major multinational corporation, then in private practice at S.J. Berwin. So he comes with a very substantial legal background. The front of the book is there, and then after that I've got some blurb. Then there's a nice dedication which you can read. We don't publish, or actually we don't review published works which we don't think much of, because we know how much work goes into writing a book, and I think the dedication sums it up in that there are a lot of people involved, so there's no point in us writing books about which we don't think much of, because it hurts the people who've done a lot of work, and I think it just is very negative. There's some endorsements about the book then you've got the table of contents there. There are 9 chapters, an introduction and a conclusion, looking at the basics of how you grow a company and so forth. There's an introduction there, some nice quotes. As long as you live, keep learning how to live, says Seneca. So a little bit of advice there right at the beginning in the introduction. You can see how it runs through. The total number of pages, under 200, 180 odd. There aren't any footnotes as such. Occasionally you get a few quotes like that in it. And in fact you do get some emboldened areas which stand out a bit, basically as illustrative examples of what is going on. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the book and what Elizabeth and I think of it. We basically say innovation, if you're running a law practice, it means embracing the new and rejecting the old, primarily outmoded methods, tools and attitudes. What we're doing at the moment within the whole of the legal world, it's going through a very substantial change, as everything else is since the year 2000, with the huge emphasis now on information technology, as it was then called, now moving on to AI and so forth. Whatever terms you want, we are therefore in a different age about how we go about the business of business, and what we're actually offering the clients, the potential clients. And of course, when it's something like law, you're looking at what Parliament says, the case law from the judiciary, and trying to make sure you are advising the client appropriately. And obviously innovation is, I would submit, one of the most important things we have to consider. But being a profession with a small c conservative approach, it does take a bit of time. So what we've got here is author Darryl Cooke. Now he's written this new title from Globe, and he obviously aimed to point readers, that is lawyers primarily in my suggestion, in the direction of innovation with a view to effecting positive change. And the grim alternative, of course, is to lose business by attrition to those more forward-looking firms for which innovation is a byword. Now, I think that's important, but we have to bear in mind one thing. I certainly do as barrister, and that is I've got the Bar Standards Board, and solicitors have their own regulatory authority. So we have to work within parameters. And of course, the bar in the past was very restrictive in what we could and couldn't do because of the nature of our work, which has of course changed, and changed very dramatically in the last few years. I mean, from the time when I first became a barrister, when the idea of advertising was simply not done, and the way that you got business was done in a very different overall approach and a process which was very different. Today we've modernised considerably, and we are looking to the future now to see what we will do by way of growing our businesses, because obviously word of mouth is an important one, but innovation, the use of the new tools and keeping up to date is absolutely fundamental. And obviously, as you have here, a blueprint for a law firm for the future. And I include in that a barrister's chambers. Now, Cooke's innovative fervour, we say, is expounded with almost evangelical zeal. I hope he doesn't mind that, because as the prime mover of change, preferably change for the better, is what we've got here. Why, it is asked, shouldn't your firm be the one to take a leading role in galvanising leaders and entrepreneurs into delivering a better world? Charities, for example, could do faster if they had the help of a visionary law firm behind or alongside them. Very important point. The only question, of course, is some people suggest there are too many charities, but that is another issue for another time. But is the relentless drive to innovate the best way forward? That's another good question. The author elaborates on this point by reassuring us as readers that the book is not about innovation, it's a book about growth. The catch here is that real growth requires real change. So it's really, I would suggest, it's really a matter of approach. Now, innovative approaches are people looking at a particular problem perhaps in a new way, and that's really what we're talking about, because the basic plan is to grow your business, but at the same time to keep the clients you have and to make sure that you are discharging the responsibilities you have. And of course, as lawyers, that's an important requirement as a professional body. So therefore we always have that at the back of our minds. The book also functions as a useful aid memoir as to how to change, that's real change, and how it can be achieved. It challenges quite effectively the status quo attitude all too often insisted upon by the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" brigade observed in large organisations, and you get it, of course, especially in the state system. I know I'm not decrying that, but you do have to recognise that in the public structure you can have a bit of a problem. I say that because I've worked in the state sector as a civil servant, as a teacher, and of course I'm now in the independent sector as a member of the independent bar, so I can see it from both sides. There aren't that many people who've got a mix half and half. In fact, it's more now as a self-employed private member at the independent bar than all the years I've done in both involved in civil service, central government matters, local government matters, and of course the teaching profession. So I think it's important to bear in mind, therefore, that numerous research studies from top businesses, schools and universities, for example, are cited throughout to drive home the salient points, because it is very much the mixed economy. I know some people don't like that, and I'm probably using old terms now. I still think they're valid, and that is that the mixed economy is still there for the balanced reasons. Now, the book's most convincing arguments centre on what we all know to be those key questions, spoken and unspoken, that preoccupy potential clients sniffing around for the right law firm. Why should I do business with you, they ask, or what can you offer me that no one else can? The author is adamant that innovative strategies can and do assist that competitive edge, so crucial to your bottom line. Now again, we're using words here, bottom line, not particularly popular with some areas. Thinking of mediators in particular. We try to get away from certain words and phrases, but you can see that what he's trying to do is offer some solutions and be very positive about it. I think he's successful. Now, imparting page after page of sage, sensible advice, Cooke exudes a degree of enthusiasm and a sense of mission which is positively infectious and certainly motivational for like-minded readers. It's not difficult to read the book. It's only small. You can read through it quite quickly, and it will give you ideas, especially if you've got a long train journey, for instance. Compact, businesslike, and an easy yet challenging read. It's a handy volume which deserves a place in the library of every law firm going for growth. And the date of publication is cited at 2019, basically early part of the year, and I'm recording this in the summer. Let's just have a quick look at the book again. Paperback, there we go. Small paperback, spine, a little bit of blurb on the back, just opening it in the middle. It's very easy to read. Chapter 7, to innovate or not to innovate. Chapter 7, let's just see what that's all about. And when I get to it, it's actually the fundamental part of the book, because obviously the blueprint is the various chapters with the introduction and the conclusion. It's got a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. "Those who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape who dream only by night." Well, that's an interesting point, bearing in mind the sort of prose he wrote. But I think you've got an idea of the basic challenges. Now you can see the way the book is structured. There's no numbering except for the page numbering, and I think, as I say, it's a relatively easy book. You do get a couple of these sections which are blanked out, as it were. In fact, put forward in purely to give examples of what the points are that Cooke is making. Anyway, thank you very much to everybody concerned for this book. I found it very interesting to look at, as did Elizabeth, and we're very grateful to Globe and to Darryl for producing it. A big thank you to everybody. Bye-bye.